Well, first off, I can tell you how excited I am to be here. And when Coach Adazio called with this opportunity and looked into Fort Collins and Colorado State and what it has to offer, it was a no-brainer for me and my family. And as our kids start to trickle back and get ready to come back for the second semester, it's been great meeting them, and can't wait to get going on Monday when they're all back and have our official team meeting and kind of meet the guys. But I've been here for 2 weeks now, or a week and a half, I should say, and it's been unbelievable, and just can't wait to get going.
What are your kind of initial impressions of how you think you want to shape this offense, knowing what you do about the personnel? Obviously, you'll learn more as time goes on, but just your initial impressions.
Yeah, it's always about personnel. And I really think as a coach, it's your job to put your players in the best position to have success. So naturally, I have the opportunity to watch some of our tape from the previous years and some of the skill guys that are coming back. And the first thing you notice, we got some playmakers. And so we want to put them in position to have success. But the one thing we'll talk about all the time is we really want to stretch the field vertically and horizontally. We want to make sure they're covering their entire field. And as I looked at our personnel and what we got coming back and where we're going to go, I do think we're going to have the opportunity to do that in the near future. I also think, with that being said, you have to have a physical presence to you, and you got to be able to run the football. And I think with Coach Adazio and his background and being on a physical downhill running game, it's really going to help. But at the same time, I think you can do that and still have make people stretch the field and cover the whole field.
This past season, in particular, for you was super successful at Ball Stages. What do you feel like came together for your offense there?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think just, with the players we had and the coaching staff, just once again going back to what do our players do best. I think at times coaches can be stubborn and we do this or we do that, but it's about the players. I say it all the time. It's players, formation, plays. There's a lot of good plays out there. You can't do them all, and you got to find a way to put your players in position to have success. And I think at Ball State we did a really good job of playing to their strengths and had a great balance, which naturally you can keep the defense off balance. I think you want to be the aggressor in everything you do. I think in offensive football today, you can do that, with tempos and formations and all those things. And I think we just did a good job of putting them in position to have success, and they went and made plays.
Have you had a chance to talk with Warren Jackson yet about, maybe what he would fit into this offense moving forward?
Absolutely. When I got the job and started watching the tape, of course, you can see on the internet his stats and whatnot. But once you watch the tape, you see how special a player he is. And with his size and his skill set, he's a matchup problem for everybody. And I do think when you have a guy with his ability and his length and his catch radius, he's going to be open a lot if we can do a good job at quarterback and be able to locate the football. But the one thing you notice about Warren and talking to him, he's a really smart guy. And you see him on tape a year ago. He played outside, he played inside. They moved him around. And the most impressive thing I think with Warren, he's willing to block. He put all those numbers up, and which is impressive. But he's a physical receiver, and we'll talk a lot about being a complete offense, but complete receiver in general. And I don't want just an outside guy or an inside guy. If you're a wideout, you can play everywhere, and you also got to be able to block and do it for the run game as well. So I've been very impressed with Warren, off tape, but also when I met him in person, his personality and just who he is and what he represents.
You've obviously haven't had a chance to meet everybody, see everything, but this team lost two transfer offensive linemen that were starters last year. You want to be physical. Are you going to have to bring in some more linemen right away to make that happen, or do you feel like you've got guys here in the program that can do that?
Yeah, we're evaluating them, every day, and I say that by watching the tape and what they've put on tape, but also once we go with our winter workouts, and like I said, our kids get back on Monday, and the second semester starts on Tuesday, and so we'll evaluate that as we go. But one thing with any transition and new coaching staff, everyone's starting on the same level playing field. So it'll be fun to see what they're all about and develop them. But we feel good about the kids in the program. This is our football team, and we're looking forward to building it.
What's it been like for you guys as a group kind of coming together, get a plan together for recruiting opening back up?
Well, that's the fun part. You get together and meet new guys that you haven't worked with in the past, and a lot of times you know of them, you've heard of them, and it's been really good to get in the staff room and kind of develop our plan from finalizing this 2020 class and beyond, and it all starts with Coach Adazio. And of course, my first opportunity to work with him, but the first thing you know in a staff meeting, he's been a head coach before. Really impressed with how organized he is in the plan and how we're going to follow through the plan and be in aligned, in alignment is a word he uses a lot. That we're going on the road tomorrow. We're excited to get out and blitz Colorado, and then we'll move on from there. But I do think we have a great plan and excited to bring quality student athletes to Fort Collins.
Joey, going off hitting Colorado, why is it so important for new staff to have a big presence in your state right away?
Yeah, I think it always starts, at home. And I think the more Colorado kids you can bring into our program, they're gonna bleed green and gold. CSU has to mean something to you. And I think when you have a good home base of Colorado talent and players and familiar with Colorado State University, that's going to carry throughout the locker room. And naturally, you're going to expand and reach different parts of the country for recruiting. But I truly believe to be a quality program, it has to start at home. You got to have great pride in your state and where you come from, and that'll start with Colorado kids.
Does that push just as much about this recruiting class coming up in February or about future years as well?
Yeah, that will be the future, and as we wrap up this class and moving beyond, that's something that Coach Adazio is adamant about. He can speak more on that as well, but he's made that clear as a staff. We're going to recruit the state of Colorado and start there, and looking forward, for me, the first time out here to go meet some quality coaches tomorrow.
Obviously, we asked you about Warren. Did you have a chance to meet with Patrick O'Brien yet?
I have. Yeah, I'm looking forward to working with Patrick. I've talked to him a couple of times, and he'll be getting back here in town shortly as well. But he's excited about it, and of course, got his feet wet a little bit last year at the end of the year, or throughout the year, I should say. But I think he has a lot of physical tools. I'm looking forward to working with him, and I like how the ball comes off his hand on tape, and I like his personality, and I'm looking forward to finishing this thing off for him.
You mentioned tempo a little bit. I mean, do you really like to run a lot of tempo, or does it depend on personnel, game situation? Just kind of, what's your philosophy there?
Yeah, I think you have to have tempo in your offense. I believe going back to being the aggressor and keeping people off balance. There's a place for it. We're not going to play fast all the times by any means, but you're definitely going to see tempo within our offense and trying to keep the defense off balance. And I like to think of if you're a pitcher, it's like throwing a curveball at them. If you always throw fastballs, they're going to get you. And if we can change the pace and keep them off balance, that's going to give us an advantage. And I think one thing about offensive football, we know our formation, we know the snap count. We have to use that to our advantage, and I'm looking forward to doing that.
Is that something you can use even more to your advantage playing at altitude? I mean, obviously, half the teams in the Mountain West are going to be in the same boat, but all your non-conference opponents, for the most part, teams outside the Mountain West, or the other half of the Mountain West, it could be a huge advantage. Does that factor into how much you might want to play tempo?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I haven't thought about that. Tempo is kind of always what I've done with certain things, but it definitely could play an advantage. I will say just how we're going to practice and what we're going to do. I expect us to be a better conditioned team than who we're playing, and naturally, that's where tempo can wear down an opponent and so on and so forth. But I'm all for the altitude being an advantage for us.
How important will spring ball be for you guys and just hitting the ground running and starting to implement some of that stuff? Or will you kind of have to wait until fall when more of the guys will be around?
No, and we're going to get going right away. And I think you got to implement your base offensive philosophy and your base offensive schemes. And naturally, you'll build with it. You're not going to throw everything at them right away because so much of what we believe is going to still come down to fundamental and techniques and truly developing the football player. And, I feel confident that we'll have good quality schemes, which is really, really important. But it still comes down to playing good fundamental football and making sure our kids understand how to execute the different assignments that they're going to be asked to do.
How much of an idea do you have right now of what you want this offense to look like next year, and how much of it's still going to be formulated by what you see of these guys in off-season and watching more tape, spring ball, et cetera?
Yeah, I think I have a great idea from a mentality standpoint, a philosophy standpoint, and I think that's going to be similar no matter what your personnel is, of who you are and what you truly believe in. At the same time, it's going to be fluid in the fact that what do our kids do best, and that's something that will be ever changing as we go through spring practice and summer and get into fall camp and bring the newcomers into the program. But from a philosophy standpoint, who you want to be from a mentality standpoint, it's going to start with being a physical football team and move on from there.
What was the number one thing that brought you to Colorado State? What was the number one reason you said, this is a job I want?
honestly, first off, starting with Coach Adazio. I had the opportunity to be with him before, not work with him, but be around him, and think the world of him. I have some close friends that have worked for him that feel the same way. And then as I looked into Colorado State and Fort Collins, what a great place. And I truly think we can do something special out here. And I was at Ball State University for a long time. That's kind of home to me. Kind of grew up there, played there, coached there. Had some other opportunities along the way, but this one was different. And when the opportunity came, that me and my family were coming.